Auburn Blitz is now on the air, your daily look into what's happening in Auburn athletics. With your host, Andy Graham, Brett Pritchard, Randy Lee, War Eagle.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Friday edition of the Auburn Blitz. Brett and Randy here with you for your lunch hour. And speaking of lunch, Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine showed up just like we've been talking about. And
I got barbecue sauce on my face.
not really, right? No, it's not. But you know what? I think everybody'd give you a pass if you did.
Well,
I mean,
I didn't want to. Brett had to make me stop. I'm over here at the table, and
I'm gonna have to.
I had to ask how many minutes was left before we started.
Well,
I'm stuffing my gullet.
Well, Kane took a picture, and I don't know if Kane can pop that up there right now if he's got it ready. He does. That's what they brought to us today, and that's one of those pictures where you can smell it through the TV or through your computer screen. These, and look, let me tell you guys, if you like grilling like I do and smoking and all that kind of stuff like your brother, and there's several of us that like to cook, these are some of the best ribs. And now ribs, you can screw ribs up. Right, you know.
You're saying I could?
Well, I'm not saying you could. I'm just saying anybody can. Even a master griller can screw them up sometimes. These are some of the best I think I've ever had, and I'm not just saying that because Kathy just left out of here. Okay, so Kathy, I'm just telling you that this plate that you brought everybody here so generously, these are some of the best ribs, and I'm telling you, we're going to talk about their specials coming up. You got Memorial Day weekend coming up. You got graduation parties coming up. You got all kind of stuff. Summer's coming up. This is, if you want something where you know it's going to be done right and you got guests coming over and you're like, man, I don't really want to screw it up, just call Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine. It's right here for you.
Very close to the lake now as well.
Right.
I've been close to the lake over in Montgomery, but very close over on East Glen in the Auburn area. And just great food, great people to deal with. Brett's about to stuff it on down real quick.
I'm just going to take a bite because I told them. I said, you know, Kathy and Paula and Randy, you already cleaned one down to the bone. So I'm going to take a bite. I'm telling you, man, they're so good. They're so tender. It is on my mouth.
Now, don't.
It's on my mouth.
But don't lie. This is your second plate.
Well, this is a.
You already eaten your other plate.
This is a prop.
Yeah, you
this
ate.
Is a prop.
The other plate's gone.
Yeah, I can't eat no more.
Now, since you touched that plate, you're going to take that one home with you.
Yeah, but you know, my son's coming home tonight. So I've got a son at Auburn that is coming home tonight. So, but yeah, now I've got it all over my hands and my face, Paul and Kathy. So there you go. But this is where you need to go for all your catering needs, everything that you got. Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine. Their menu is phenomenal. They do the daily specials. We talk about that on here every day. But don't take our word for it. You know, go get you a plate and make sure they cater your next event. They do an outstanding job. So we'll be taking some bites throughout the rest of the program.
Yes.
All right. So big time here on Friday. A lot to talk about. NFL draft last night. We'll talk a little bit about what went on with that. There's some odd things that went on. Does Atlanta like to lose? Atlanta Falcons. Do they like to lose? Is my question.
Very odd pick, but a quarterback that's ceiling's very high. I'm not.
They just paid $180 million for one.
I know, which is the odd thing. If you weren't dead set, sold on Kirk Cousins and $180 million, because I can buy into Michael Penix Jr.
Well, nobody's questioning.
Yeah, I agree
Penix.
with you. Yeah.
Why did you just pay $180 million for a guy and then you go draft your first round draft pick at 7? You take Michael Penix when you hadn't had a defensive lineman with double-digit sacks since 2016, and you had Dallas Turner on the board. You had another couple of big defenders. You decide you're going to go and take another quarterback. Are they going to run a 2-quarterback system in Atlanta? You're going to split Penix out at wide receiver. Cousins takes a snap, throws it out, and then he's going to do a double pass. Is that kind of offense?
I didn't watch enough of it, but from a trading aspect, can you play? No, I know it, but can you play that game down the line? Is there a thought process around that?
Usually that's already taken place.
You know, I'm not really good with, all right, 180 mil here.
Right.
But if you were to trade, how much of that do they absorb? Also from, and I know probably not as much there, but you go and you get a rookie quarterback.
Right.
And the rookie quarterback shows promise.
Right.
Because what did we have, 6 out of the first 12?
Yeah, quarterbacks.
Were quarterbacks?
Yes. What about Bo Nix going 12? We'll talk about that a little bit here, too. So.
I thought it was very much deserved. Unfortunately, as an Auburn fan sitting here on an Auburn show, to watch him go in as an Oregon player. But it also proves that it's very easy for people like me and you to sit up here and say, why don't people just stick with it? Just stick it out. You know, if you'd have a little work ethic about yourself and hang in there, then things can get better. Whereas you can look at a lot of positions like that. Cam Newton being one that worked out for Auburn, goes #1 in the draft, ends up being NFL Player of the Year one year, but he had to bounce around a little bit before he found his way at Auburn. Nick Marshall, you and I sat up here yesterday and said, I'd give up any quarterbacks that you'd lay out for me over the next 20 years of my life if you just give me Nick Marshall every year. I'll figure the offense out around him.
No doubt.
But Bo Nix, he made the right move for himself. We were in a very bad position from a head coaching and a coordinator and all the inner turmoil that Auburn had going on, and you can say, I wish he would have stuck it out, but that was a wonderful business decision for Bo Nix. And I don't know a single Auburn fan, including me or you, that aren't happy for that young man.
No, everybody was pulling for him. I think he was a victim of poor administrative choices by Auburn. That's the bottom line. That kid wanted to be at Auburn. His dad played at Auburn. He's a legacy. He endured the pressure of being, the guy coming in that was highly touted and so much on his back, and he performed his first year and was all SEC freshman. Won 9 games that first year, and everybody felt like you and I both that, man, this kid is the real deal. We watched him at Pinson Valley. But he had to deal with Malzahn and the quirkiness of Malzahn, and then you interject Brian Harsin, who, by the way, I know a lot of people don't like Joseph Goodman, but he to me, his tweet, he's like, Bo Nix just went 12th in the draft, which immediately solidifies that Brian Harsin's the worst coach ever in the history of college football. I mean, and I think we all feel that way. I mean, I hate it, but, Bo Nix had no future with the current setup. Now, if Auburn would have had a good, solid coach in place, Hugh Freeze probably in place, Bo Nix never leaves. He never leaves. It just didn't work out, the timing for the coaches that were there. And that's one of the things about Gus Malzahn that you more than anybody in our group talked about. Guy couldn't ever figure out what he wanted to do. He led a team as an O coordinator in 10 to a national championship. He comes over, takes over as head coach in 13, takes the same style quarterback in a run-pass type offense and goes back to a national championship game and then abandons that. Because for some reason in his mind, he just said, well, we can't get anybody to the next level, or I can't recruit the right kind of quarterback. He wanted – even though he had the system that worked, in his mind somewhere he felt like he needed a pro-style quarterback. I don't know why.
It's the only reason. I
don't know why.
It's the only thing that I can come up with, and we sound like a broken record, for the reason that you would go and recruit a Sean White and a Jeremy Johnson, which didn't pan out. But Jeremy Johnson, we thought he had the opportunity to be that type of player. So I'm not knocking him for the Jeremy Johnson. No. I'm really not. We saw, you and I called a lot of ball games, Jeremy Johnson.
He was the hype.
He was dynamic running the football, didn't parlay into being a great runner in the pro game, in the college game. But nonetheless, I give him a pass on that one. But there were way too many recruits that came into Auburn during that stretch that didn't fit that mold, which made you go, hold up, are we running different systems? If he were to be inserted, are we going to do something different?
And the biggest thing out of all this, Randy, to add to that, is that we never had an offensive line that he wasn't running for his life. Gus Malzahn, biggest knock for the NFL was the reason he couldn't recruit good offensive linemen, because all of the NFL teams basically said to the top offensive lineman, if you go there, you're not going to be ready. You're not going to be, put in the position to be an offensive lineman in the pros because of that system. Well, then Harsin comes in, and again, I don't need to recap the disaster that was. But Bo Nix never had a line. You know, one of the biggest knocks Auburn fans kept saying is, "Oh, son gun bowls out every time he takes a snap." Well, wouldn't you? Well, I mean, as soon as you catch the football back there, there's somebody in the backfield. The man had no chance. Go back to the LSU play. Okay, you and I were off together at several friends went on a trip, and we arrived at where we were watching. So we all go somewhere to watch the game that night. And that was the first time, by the way, Auburn had beaten LSU in about 20 years down in Baton Rouge. But we got down, if you remember, I think we were down 13-0, and Bo Nix on a 4th down play went from one sideline to the sideline back and dodged about 3 defenders and throws a pass into the end zone for a touchdown and kind of sparked the team, and they came back. Randy, if he's not just God-given his ability back there, we get killed down there. He won that game just by his physical ability and his instincts, but the blocking wasn't any better that night than it was the whole time he was at Auburn.
Feel good for his family. Feel good for his dad, who is still as good a high school coach. Brett and I, our bread's buttered in high school sports here in this state. We love Auburn, but we love high school sports. And, you know, Patrick Nix over at Phoenix City's got it going as well as anybody out there.
Boy.
They're a machine. It's not stopping. They got talent coming through. He's hanging in there. He's winning state championships, and you could see it written all over the family's face how proud they were. And, you know, as a high school sports fan here in the state of Alabama, I would have loved to have seen him go in, but it was a feel-good as well to see one of your high school quarterbacks that won 2 state titles get picked 12.
No doubt about it. We're going to take a break. Randy's going to go eat another rib during the break. When we come back, we'll try to clean some of this up. Thanks to Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine, man. These ribs are phenomenal. Stay tuned. More to come right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
When you need an automotive hero, you got to call S&S Discount Tire Pros. With locations in Alexander City and Dayville, we are here to serve you today. From quick services like oil changes and tire rotations to in-depth automotive repairs such as suspensions, brakes, and tune-ups, S&S can take care of all your tire needs. You just have to focus on what's important and love the drive. Call S&S Discount Tire Pros today. We are automotive heroes, and we are here to serve you.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau tri-tunes, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our best rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Let's get serious. Let's get Arctic Air serious. You want your car and truck to live longer, don't you? Well, it's about maintenance. Same thing with Arctic Air. You see the number at the bottom of the screen? Call them right now. Let me tell you something. You want to be comfortable? We all want to be comfortable.
Truckloads of fresh inventory are rolling into Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika, like this powerful all-new GMC Sierra 1500 SLT. Now available with up to $13,000 off. Purchase the roomy GMC Terrain SLT, discounted up to $97.50 off. And the GMC Acadia AT4 all-wheel drive, discounted up to $8,000 off. Enjoy no payments till the end of summer at Glenn Smith GMC. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Auburn Blitz. 45 minutes left in the show here on this Friday, brought to you by Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply Stores, J.A. Smith Construction and Excavation, and Central Alabama Community College. Ty asked us, I think Ty maybe just tuned in here just a minute ago, wanted to know our take on Bo Nix at number 12, and then Bubba said Bo Nix was a victim of bad administration decisions, as you pointed out, but some fans were brutal. I'll not say anything else because I don't want this to turn into the Fine Bomb show, but brutal. They were, Bubba. I mean, look, there was criticism on this show. We'll say it here. A lot of people called in and bashed Bo Nix on here, and, you know, I don't think we ever bashed the kid on here, but we talked about, you know, some things not really doing or going in the direction they needed to go. It wasn't him. It was not Bo Nix. It was absolutely the environment that he was in, and you're right. I think you agree. It was administrative decisions. Back to Ty's, I think it's outstanding. You know, he gets picked 12. Jarrett Stidham's in Denver. You got Bo Nix there, and then they just got the kid from Zach. I can't remember his last name.
Zach Love.
No, not Zach Love. The kid from the Jets. They just got. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, you think he played at BYU, but
Love, isn't it?
No, it's not Love.
I'll think kind of NFL fan I am.
It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't say it. Yeah, he struggled mightily the last couple. Zach Wilson. That's who.
That's right.
He struggled the last couple of years with the Jets. So again, a lot of naysayers out there saying the Denver Broncos quarterback room looks like trash right now. You know, you got Bo Nix has just been drafted. You got Jarrett Stidham, who's been a career backup. You know, I don't think Jarrett Stidham's a bad quarterback, but he's been a career backup at the Patriots, and then, you know, now with Denver. So one of those three is going to have to step up and be the QB.
Bo Nix a couple of drives away from winning the Heisman. You know, if they win that game in the semis and he makes it to the championship game, no doubt in my mind he wins the Heisman Trophy.
Right.
I think he went into that night the front runner for the Heisman. Didn't play poorly at all. Just didn't play that standout game that we had seen so many other times.
Needed to win that game.
I mean, Bo Nix is right where he deserved to be, and right where you and I thought he would be. I think the first game you and I broadcasted for him was junior in high school, state championship game for Pinson Valley. He was a man amongst boys, and it was an ugly environment that night, freezing cold, and he still was able to get through and win a championship, and then did the same the next year. And his father's moved on to Phoenix City and won a couple of championships there. So he's got great pedigree. He's a much better athlete than his dad. I don't think his dad will mind him saying. So he can move around. He's mobile. He has a good enough arm to be competitive, I think, in the league. So I'm thrilled for him.
Yeah. Let's look at the draft yesterday, the first round. Caleb Williams went 1. The Bears, man, they get rid of Justin Fields to sign a guy that's like Justin Fields. And Caleb Williams badmouthed the Bears a lot, saying that he will refuse to be signed by them. Obviously, came down to earth a little bit. But there's a lot of people that don't like the way Caleb Williams carries himself and the way he talks and the way he handles things. Maybe a little bit of a prima donna.
Won't matter if he can play.
If he can play. But unfortunately, the Bears have drafted 3 quarterbacks in the last 6 years and number 1 pick, and they ain't worked out. Mitch Trubisky, Fields, and now Caleb Williams. Now, it's yet to be seen if Caleb Williams can make it happen. Jaden Daniels was drafted at number 2 to the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels' season at LSU was outstanding. If they'd have had any defense, they probably could have won a national title with his leadership and the way he played, but their defense was horrendous. It reminded me of, our 14 team.
Yeah.
Nick Marshall put up unbelievable numbers. We'd score 40 points but give up 50. And so that's just kind of the way it is. But a good pick there for Washington. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be really good. I heard somebody last night say all these quarterbacks, 6 out of the 12 in the first 12 picks, all of them aren't going to pan out. They don't. That never happens. Drake May goes to the Patriots. Does he pan out from North Carolina? You look down and you get Penix at the Falcons. Who are they going to start? I mean, they just paid $180 million for Cousins. That's the most bizarre pick that I can remember in the draft in the last 10 to 15 years, where a franchise literally just went out and paid $180 million for a quarterback that's been in the league, and they have the 7th pick overall, and they go draft another quarterback. And then you see Arthur Blank and the GM down there talking, and he's obviously trying to explain to Arthur Blank why he just selected a quarterback. It didn't look like it was too good of a conversation. So,
got to be a reason. I mean, it's got to be something. And I look forward to trying to tune in to some others that know a little more. But, I mean, do you think that the difference between their 7th and 8th pick on their draft board was that drastic that they felt like they had to go? And I know that it's 2 quarterbacks. Are you dead set on Kirk Cousins?
I mean, somebody in that franchise is if they paid him $180 million.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
Are you? Have you?
I'm not.
I think he's
I'm
slightly above par, which is great for the NFL.
Is he as good as Matt Ryan was?
I don't think he's that good. Do you?
He hasn't been able to prove it at Minnesota. So Minnesota goes out and gets J.J. McCarthy. Now, I don't really understand that one. I'm not a big – I think J.J. McCarthy was a good quarterback in college. I didn't really just think he was going to be a top 10 draft pick.
I agree. Dual threat, but –
all right, so let's talk about the SEC. I'm not going to go through this whole thing.
One thing you don't have to worry about, you don't have to bring up all the Auburn draft picks.
Unfortunately.
You can go to a different topic.
Unfortunately, you're right. Jaden Daniels, LSU, was selected 2nd. Malik Neighbors was selected 6th by the New York Giants. J.C. Latham was the first Alabama player selected at 7. The big offensive